giving you tomorrow's news today. Will low interest rates that we have enjoyed for the past 12 months stick around to potentially 2025 with what's going on in the current climate? Stay tuned to find out. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes, episode 506. Could low interest rates stick around to 2025? Hear it here first from myself, Michael Bergio. Mark Novak. Good morning, Mark. How are we?
Good, Bergio.
Very good, very good. So, low interest rates, they've been at this level for possibly, at least, 12 to 18 months. But up until the last month, there'd been a lot of talk. And originally, at the beginning of the year, the RBA came out saying rates are going to stay this low till 2024. That was sort of the position after the sort of Christmas lockdown, January came about. And up until basically last month, you started seeing articles come out from bank reps saying they could go up as early as 2023, because obviously the initial report was the RBA's position, but as we know, banks don't have to follow that. Banks could put theirs up to whatever they like. They've obviously got to have a profit in there, but there had been talk of it going up as early 2023. And as we both know, if we look at what rates are right now to what they were 4 or 5 years ago at 4 or 5% on the purchases and deals we're seeing, that's a huge increase. Like, we're talking just a big increase. But in the light of the lockdown that we're, especially New South Wales, I know Victoria's in it as well, looks like it's going to possibly go on for another month or two. Stimulus going out, rental freezes, a lot of the things that happened last year, which made the RBA and the government say, hey, let's keep rates really low, stimulate the economy, let's do all this stuff. We're sort of, and then that in New South Wales in particular, it died down. We hadn't had a big lockdown like this for quite a long time. And then you start seeing, hey, rates are going to go back up soon. Now we're going through the lockdowns again, the stimulus, and business shut down more so now than we had before. So do we think that then now the plan, which may have been to put rates up 2023, officially 2024, could that now push back to 2025 to almost compensate what we're going through now? Because we've got to have that, what happens now affects stuff in 2 years, 3 years time. So let's have a conversation about it.
Look, I think, guys, first of all, our hearts are definitely going out to different industries, different states. I had a surprisingly high number of calls yesterday from clients and friends that are just really, really struggling with this at the moment, mentally, financially, physically getting out to sites. Like, it's definitely tough. Something that's a little bit different this time is we don't have a fresh tank, full tank of gas financially, whereas we are already on one leg, trying to recover from the stuff before, and people had savings that they'd used up, and the government had big coffers that were nice and full. But this time it's different, and for some reason I thought that each lockdown would be less and less and less. So it seems like this one's bigger than the last lockdown we had when the Northern Beaches got locked down. It seems like it's a lot bigger. It's now sort of countrywide. But indexing that onto interest rates, I think it's going to happen, Burge. Like, I think that directly our interest rate's going to stay low for a while. Well, if the economy was phenomenal, if lockdown was zero, there was no lockdown, and property prices kept going, I think it would have been a really good excuse for the government to slow the property market down and put the interest rates up. Whereas I think now they're going to be thinking a lot about putting freezing rates where they are, and definitely not putting them up. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's crazy to think that I won't get into too much of it on the political side of things, but you're right. We've got the vaccine, we're doing all this, and lockdowns are getting worse, not better. We know more about it anyway, but put that aside, because we said early on in the piece that it's like having a retail shop and you've only got a few items to sell, and that's like our economy, that's like our government. And real estate and construction were two that they could prop up, cash injection, create employment, because we didn't have international tourism, we didn't have international education. We get a lot of immigrant students, so that's a big cash cow as well. And the low interest rates bumped up.
Yeah, everyone's forgotten about that.
Yeah, it bumped up construction to a level which I almost think they were like, shit, it's done too much. Like most areas, Northern Beaches, Mark, we sort of laugh at it, but in a bad way, because like some suburbs have done 50% growth. And we're not talking about properties that were like 200 grand, now they're on a 400. We're already talking about the top end of Australia property, like a block for 1.5, it's gone up 53%, 2 million properties, 3, it's huge. And you know, when we were saying before, they already pull levers to bump up the economy. It's like they pulled the real estate lever and construction, it soared. I was almost thinking, I bet they wish they could pull that back, because I don't know if it's sustainable. I get why they're bumping up, because they need the money, our economy does. But now when you think about it, like as for stability of our market, like anyone who's in property long term, 55% growth in 12 months is not sustainable. So you almost need the rates to go up to pull it back to a sustainable level. But now
we were getting there,
100%. But now the thought of what's happening now, and they're going to keep rates lower, stuff like that, well, where is it going to stop, sort of thing? And it could get as high as things go up, there's always a correction, and then it sets a new level. It's like a wave. Like my personal view was, it's gone up 50%, there'll be a 20% dip, and we'll sit at a 30% level. And I'm not saying that's over a month. That could be over a 4-year period, this whole COVID from 2020 to 2024. That was sort of my view, but I'm sort of a little bit conscious of we've had such a surge, another surge, if people think, well, we're going to have it around, because I think we started to see a bit of pullback for whatever reason. Talks of maybe rates going up in 2023. We just started to see less people through the door, still getting great prices at that new level, but we didn't have that surge. So I think the government's going to be in a pretty big predicament where it's like, if they do exactly what they did last time, keep rates low, and you see Mona Vale, for example, go up to 80% growth in 18 months, I don't know if that's good. I don't know. Good if you own, but long term. So they may try and do something else.
And look, this has happened before. This sort of growth has happened before in the Australian economy, this sort of capital growth over a year or 2 or 3. In the 80s, we saw it happen twice, in the early 80s and the late 80s, where there was just this explosive capital growth in the market. But, they've always regulated interest rates to control that. So when there's been a lot of growth, they've put those rates up and made it a little bit harder for people to lend. It's a little bit hard to do that at the moment because there's people that have mortgages that are trying to survive through COVID. So it's almost a two-speed economy again. But yeah, look, all in all, I reckon the low interest rate environment will not stay low, because they're trying to control the property market and slow down the property market from going through the roof. But they will stay low because they're trying to help a brother out and keep it and help people manage their debt there. So guys and girls, my take on it is on it. There's a good reason for the rates to go up a little bit, because this property market's getting out of control, and there's a good reason for rates to stay where they are, because there's so many people hurting at the moment in this crazy world, mate. If I was a betting man, I'd probably say I reckon rates will stay similar to where they are for another 3 years.
Yeah. And it's good to have that conversation like what we are now, because we try and do our best to give both sides of it. Obviously, being agents, we're biased, but we also stability is better for everybody. Like, I don't think, what's that saying? Cut off a leg to save the body. Like, as agents, yeah, it's great having a great market, but we wouldn't want to see 80% growth this year just for the market to crash. Not crash, is it? You know what I mean? To have a shit 5 years because of one good year. So that's where it's good. And it's good to have the conversation as well. And then, but I think that's a wrap. Anything else you want to add on to that? But I think there's always repercussions. So people may come up with ideas for now to solve this problem, but you don't want to create a bigger problem for everybody later. So we'll just have to play it by ear.
And look, we are totally biased. Like, we are property people in Sydney, and there's so many alternative views to what we're looking at. Love to hear what your views are. Feel free to comment after the show, or obviously during the show. But I think that's certainly what we're saying, and it's a long-term view. Like, I'm looking back 30 years now and looking at what the rates have done and sort of trying to navigate through this. But certainly I think the last couple of days, and my heart goes out to everyone who's affected. There's people having to live off their credit cards now, and certainly our business has been affected as well. And yeah, it's just a crazy world, dude. It is a crazy world at the moment.
Yeah, because I know makes me think twice is people buying the entry level house for $2-3 million. So let's say you got a debt of $2 million on it. At the interest rate now, you got 35% interest, like $35K a year at 1.8 or whatever it is. And then if a healthy rate for our economy is 4%, that goes from like 35 to nearly 100K in interest repayments alone. It's a big jump from where we were only a couple of years ago.
It's huge.
But that's a wrap. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone. Sean, Peter.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Stay safe and talk to people if you need help. Spread the good word. Don't hold it in. Ask for help, and people are there for you.
Perfect.
Tough times.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.